Just giving everyone 5 minutes to join and settle in before we officially begin this session. So please feel free to get comfortable, connect your audio, and we'll start promptly once everyone is in. Thank you. Before we begin, I'd like to quickly run through a few housekeeping rules to ensure that this session runs smoothly. Please stay muted and use the Q&A function for any questions that you might have, and be respectful and constructive. Also, this session will be recorded, so it can be shared with those who could not join, and if you want to revisit this, then you always can.
Thank you, Sadhana. We are right around 350 people joining us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening, this afternoon, this morning, wherever you are joining from. So, a couple of housekeeping items Sadhana already shared. One thing that we also wanted to share with you is that we're going to try something a little different in today's call. We're going to have a little bit of simultaneous Hindi translation going on. So we have two channels. If you notice at the bottom of your screen where it says more, where there's three little dots, if you click on that, there should be an option that says interpretation. If you click on interpretation, you'll see two options. One option says English and the other option says Hungarian. Now, it's not actually Hungarian, but that's the channel we're using for our Hindi translation. So if anyone wants to listen to this training in Hindi, where it says listen in original audio English or Hungarian, you can switch or click to Hungarian and you will hear what I'm talking in English being relayed in Hindi. So I'm going to give a couple of minutes for folks to get used to that. I will check the chat as well. I will open up the chat so that folks can let me know if they are able to find the interpretation and if they are able to click on Hungarian and hear our friend Akshay speaking in Hindi. Akshay, if you can start, great. Okay. I'm seeing a couple of yeses, so we are good to go. Perfect. Can find the button, but it's not working. Okay. Akshay, are you speaking in Hindi as I am speaking? Yes, I hear a couple of yeses. Yep. Looks like we are good. All right. Okay. I will start with recording and we can get this ball rolling. Thank you, everyone. Okay, let's...
Recording in progress.
Perfect. Let's get started. Okay. And Deepthi, if you can just do a quick check of the chats as we're going through, making sure that there's no logistics issues happening. All right, perfect. So thanks everyone for joining our commissions call today, our India Sales Performance Plan training call. There is quite a bit to cover and we don't have a ton of time to cover over it. So we'll do the best we can in terms of how much we're going to cover, what the concepts we're going to cover. And I anticipate this being the first of many trainings that we will have around the marketing plan, around the commissions, and around the India Sales Performance Plan. But before we get into it, I do want to root us in fundamentals in the foundations of the business. This plan is built around what we call our 4 S's. There's different acronyms for it, but it's around the fundamentals of the business. We are a product-driven business that utilizes an amazing channel to grow, that provides an opportunity not just from a product perspective, but from a business perspective. And how do we do it? It all starts by being a product of the product. So self-use is what we call our first S, where you will start using the products. You get to experience the products that Nuskin as a company has to offer. As you understand our product portfolio, as you understand the efficacy of our products, you will then naturally want to share about it. If you've been to a nice restaurant that you really liked, I'm sure you'd want to share it with your friends. Same concept. After you've self-used, you share your product experience with your friends, your family, your network. And as you start doing that, a way to branch that into the business opportunity side is to start sponsoring. So monetizing that recommendation, that product experience recommendation that you're bringing in, is where the sponsoring comes in. The third S, sponsoring your valuable customers into our Nuskin family. And once that's done, the fourth S of supporting them, because once you made a recommendation, you've started to build a team or an organization of people who love the products just as much as you. You'll also need to support them through their product experience journey, through their business building journey, through their business opportunity journey. And that's where we close the loop with support. And this is a continuous process, right? We are always using products. We're always sharing about the amazing products we have. We're always sponsoring. We're always supporting our teams. So that's how the plan is built around. It's built around these activities. If you could go to the next slide, please. This plan is built to reward you for three things that are tied to those four S's. The first is to market and sell our products to your customers and your direct sellers. The second is to develop direct sellers who sell our products to their customers and direct sellers. And the third is leading brand reps as they build and develop their own groups. So if you think back to the four S's that I just shared, the marketing side and selling our products, it's similar to that sharing your product experience. The developing direct sellers is similar to the sponsoring. And then the leading is supporting your teams as they go through their own journeys. So what is the plan and how does that work? Okay, so there are four ways as a direct seller that you can participate in the India plan. One, you love our products, you want to purchase them, great. You can purchase the products, you can use them, you can resell them. The other is you can register customers who purchase products directly from Nuskin. They're still part of your team. You're the one who brought them into the business. You're the one who exposed them to the brand. The other is you can register other direct sellers who purchase and sell products just like what you're doing. And finally, you can also elect to qualify as a brand affiliate or a brand rep. And that's where you get deeper into the business opportunity side of what Nuskin as a brand stands for. We can go to the next slide, please. Now, when we talk about customers, customers are different than direct sellers in the plan. Customers are those who just buy the products and enjoy them. They don't participate in the plan, in the marketing plan, in the sense that they are not going out and finding other people to recruit. They're not building teams of their own. They're not reselling products, but they're here to buy and enjoy Nuskin products. And there's three types. The first is unregistered customers. These are customers who buy products from a direct seller, from one of you, but it's done outside of the system. How would that happen? Well, let's say you bought 2 or 3 products and you want to resell 2 of them, but you physically have possession of all 3 of them. So if you're selling the other 2, that's not something that we can track or have insights into. So that's happening outside the system, and you are selling that to a unregistered customer in the sense that Nuskin, they're not registered with Nuskin, so we don't have insight into that. The second is a retail customer who can purchase locally manufactured products from direct sellers like yourselves, but this is done directly through Nuskin. This is done through our website, and this is done through all of the internal systems that we have. Third, we have members. Members are those who can purchase locally manufactured products at a discounted price than retail customers. But the difference is that they are tied to the person who recommended the products to them. So we have these three types of customers in the system. Well, two in the system and one not in the system. Now, what does this mean for our plan? Well, I mentioned direct sellers, and the reason I mentioned direct sellers is that it's intentional, because direct sellers is the starting for anyone who wants to use Nuskin as a business opportunity. Everyone comes in as a direct seller who wants to do the business opportunity. The first step to unlock more benefits as a direct seller is to go to a brand affiliate. Brand affiliate is someone who achieves 10,000 in net product sales to their customers, the people that they bring in, their customers and direct sellers. Locally, we call this your level 1. And that needs to be done within a single calendar month. If you do that, the very next day, you'll actually unlock brand affiliate pricing, which is the lowest possible pricing you can buy any Nuskin products for. Now, you'll notice that I specifically called out net product sales next to that 10,000 rupee number. Why do I say net product sales? Because net product sales is the price paid for products, but it doesn't include tax or shipping or any applicable fees. So it's the true product price that counts in qualifying to go from a direct seller to a brand affiliate. Yeah. So now that we've understood how you go from a direct seller to a brand affiliate, you have, let's take this example. Let's say you here, you've bought a product, and after taxes and shipping and all of that, you paid 2,500 for that product. You really liked it. So now you went and started sharing it to other people, and it was a mix of people. There were some people who just wanted to buy the product, who wanted to use it. There were some who wanted to do it like a business, like yourself. So let's say you went and found 6 people, 3 of whom just wanted to buy the product, and 3 of whom wanted to build a business like you. Now, if you remember, I said you will need 10,000 rupees of level 1 sales to go from a direct seller to a brand affiliate. If you look at your 6 folks that you've brought in on your first level here, 3 customers and 3 direct sellers, and you add up how much they've spent, so how much they've bought and how much you've sold, essentially, you will see that it adds up to 1,000 plus 2,000, that's 3,000, 3,500, 5,500, 7,000, 7,500. So there's a total of 7,500 rupees in sales, excluding taxes and shipping and whatnot, that you sold to your customers and direct sellers below you. That didn't meet the 10,000 rupees. So you would still be a direct seller in the plan. You wouldn't be a brand affiliate in the plan. Now, if we go to the next slide, you'll notice that the numbers have changed just a little. You're still buying your product. You're enjoying being a product of the product. You're enjoying its efficacy. But now if you look at your 6 customers and you add up their net sales price, so in other words, the price that they paid, excluding taxes and shipping and applicable fees, you'll see that now it adds up to 10,000. So 10 plus 2 plus 3, that's already 6, plus 2, 8, 9,500 and 10,000. So now you, as a direct seller, you have sold 10,000 rupees worth of net product sales in a month, in a single calendar month. Because of this, the next day, your status is going to change from a direct seller to a brand affiliate. And once you do that, you essentially unlock more bonuses, and you also unlock the best possible price. So when we're talking about these bonuses, what are they? So if you go to the next slide, we can talk about the first bonus. The first bonus is the marketing bonus. And this is something that's available to direct sellers. It's available to brand affiliates, and it's also available to brand representatives who we'll discuss more in later. So essentially, anyone who's starting and wants to do the business with Nuskin can choose, will be eligible for the marketing bonus. So the marketing bonus is essentially the price. If you could go one back, the marketing bonus is essentially the price that you have between the price that your customers and direct sellers buy product for versus the price that you could buy that exact same product for. So it's the price that you are entitled to pay and the price paid for products by your customers, but it doesn't include GST or shipping or applicable fees, just like the previous examples I gave. So if you go to the next slide, we're going to talk about what products do we have? How do I see a question coming in about how do I know the net sales price of a product? As we go through the different examples of bonuses that we have, I'll cover how you can calculate the net sales price. So we'll actually start with this table right here. This is a table of the products that we have available right now, that are available for sale on the Nuskin website. We have 5 different bundles or kits that are from our skincare line, that are either our Serenew Professional Salon Targeted line or our Nuskin At Home Beauty line, or a mix of both, which is our skincare business bundle. And you'll notice that each of these products have 3 price points. They have an MRP, a maximum retail price. They have a member/direct seller price, and they have a brand affiliate price. MRP is what the price a retail customer would pay. If you are a member, so a preferred customer, or you are a direct seller, you would pay the price in the middle column because you are either a preferred customer or you are starting to do the business with Nuskin, so you would get a discount, essentially a lower price on the product. Now, when we go to brand affiliate price, the cheapest possible price, the lowest possible price, I just walked you through how you could do that by doing that 10,000 rupees in net sales price. So we've got these 5 different products. We see 3 different price points for each of these products. So let's walk through an example of how you could calculate marketing bonus between using one SKU as an example. I see a question, what is different between customer and a member? Really good question. I think that's something to share with this group as well. When we say customer, it could mean any type of customer. When we're talking about the marketing bonus specifically, there's 2 types that we talk about. You can either be a retail customer or a member who is a preferred customer. A retail customer buys at member price and at retail price, and the member buys at member price. If you look at this table at the bottom, you'll see we have an example of one of the products that we sell. One has MRP, which is what a retail customer would buy at. The other is called member price, which is what a member or a preferred customer would buy as. A direct seller would also buy at the same price. If you look at this team that we've got here, let's say you are a direct seller and you have sold products to 6 people. There could be a retail customer, a member, a direct seller, they might be a brand affiliate themselves, or they might even be a brand representative. In our example, you have sold to 2 retail customers, you have sold to 1 member, and you have sold to 1 direct seller and 2 brand affiliates. So if you look, and let's assume that the only product we have for sale is this one product that you see in the bottom, this Serenue Starter Bundle. Now, since you have two retail customers, A and C, and you've sold this bundle to them, they have essentially spent 16,250 rupees to buy it each. Now that 16,250 rupees includes GST, shipping, things like that. So when you take out 18% off the price, because all of our existing products have a GST of 18%. When you take out that 18%, you will have 13,771 rupees left as a retail customer. A member, same concept. A member would have bought the same bundle at 13,295. When you take out the 18% GST, B, who is the member, their net sales price is 11,266.95. So you'll see this logic flow through across the rest of your customers and direct sellers in your first level. Now, direct sellers and you'll notice that brand affiliates, E and F, have the lowest possible price. After you take out GST, it's right around 10,000 rupees. So when you as a direct seller have sold to all these 6 different people, what would be your marketing bonus? Since you are a direct seller, you are buying at a price that is lower than retail price, but is still higher than brand affiliate price. And it's the same as member price. So you will get more margin anytime you sell to a retail customer, but there won't be any margin if you're selling to a member or a brand affiliate. So in this case, you have 2 retail customers, A and C, who have bought the product at a price higher than you could have bought it as, because you as a direct seller, you could have bought this exact same product, excluding tax, at 11,266 rupees. But your retail customers, they bought it at 13,771 rupees. And since you had 2 retail customers, if you'll see at the bottom, A and C, you'll see that the price that your retail customer paid, excluding GST, that 13,771, minus the 11,266, which is the price that you could have bought the same product at, excluding GST, comes up to about 2,504. That's the marketing bonus that you would get by selling one of these bundles to a retail customer. Since you sold 2, your total marketing bonus for that month would be twice that number, which is 5,000. Now, if we go to the next slide, let's look at this exact same scenario, but with a slightly different twist. Now you are not a direct seller. You have gone into the status of a brand affiliate because you have sold 10,000 rupees worth of product to your first level. Now, since you're doing that, you get the lowest possible price. You get to buy products at the lowest possible price, and that means that anyone that you've got on your first level, if they're a retail customer, if they're a member, if they're a direct seller, you can still make margin on all of them. So in this example, you've got 6 customers and direct sellers, and 2 of them are brand affiliates, the same status as you. So you both, or all 3 of you, buy and sell the product at the same price. So there's no margin there from E and F, but A, B, C, and D all generate margin through marketing bonus for you. Since you have 2 retail customers who are buying the product at 16,250, which is 13,771, excluding GST, and you have a member and a direct seller who can both buy the same price, but that price excluding GST is still higher than the price that you can buy it at, you make margin on all of them. So if you look at the calculations below, A and C will be the same number, and B and D will be the same number. In other words, you've got the same margin because you have 2 retail customers, and then you're also getting the same margins from B and D because both a member and a direct seller buy the product at the same price. Put that all together and you've made 10,000 rupees through the marketing bonus by creating this small team of 6 customers. So that's the marketing bonus. Fairly straightforward in terms of the margin or how it's calculated and how it impacts. As long as you have the price list that shows you the different price points and you're able to take GST out of the equation, you'll be able to easily calculate how much your marketing bonus is, depending on who you're selling to, how many people you're selling to, and what products they are. Now that we've covered marketing bonus, let's get into developing bonus. So if you could go to the next slide. Sorry, let's actually go back to that previous one because I do want to cover this one as well. In each of the bonuses, what I've done is I've tried to take an example of real life examples of what's been happening over the last few weeks as we've been operational in Nuskin. So if you look at your business center, so you as a direct seller or a brand affiliate or a brand representative, you all have access to something that's called Business Center, which helps manage your business. You can access this by going into your nuskin.com profile, logging in, and you'll have a section there that says Business Center. If you click on it, you'll get something similar to what you see here on this screenshot. So here we have someone, you'll see that there is a marketing bonus that is highlighted, or marketing tab that is highlighted, that shows that this person over here, they had a group of 18 customers in December, and one of them actually bought 28,558 rupees worth of product. Now this number here is net sales price, so it's already got GST taken out of it. If you add GST into it, you'll see that this customer paid around 33,000 rupees to buy this bundle. This bundle, coincidentally, is our skincare bundle that has the best of both worlds. It has both Serenue products and Nuskin products in it. Now, because this person bought it at 28,558 of net sales price, they are a member, so they are a direct seller, which is the same price that a member also pays. But this person that we're looking at, they were actually a brand affiliate. So in other words, they could have bought the same product at a much cheaper price, brand affiliate price. And because they sold to a direct seller, they made margin on that sale. And that margin is what you see on this right where it says marketing bonus, 3172. If you look at the bottom table, we're showing you the example of that skincare line with prices including GST. So the calculation is, since the person who bought it was a direct seller and the person who sold it was a brand affiliate, you take those two prices, 33,699 and 29,955, and you back out GST from that, the 18%, so you can divide it by 1.18, and you get to this 3,172.88 number. So that's how your marketing bonus calculation is covered in real life. So this is an actual example, and for each of the examples, each of the bonuses, I will share a similar example to help illustrate the concept of how these bonuses are. Now, let's go to the next slide, which is our developing bonus. Developing bonus is essentially the extension or the next step from marketing. If you remember at the very beginning of the presentation, I said this plan is built to reward people who market and sell. So that's the marketing bonus. And then it's also built to reward people who develop other people who can market and sell products. That's the developing bonus. So we're getting into that second part now, where the focus of the developing bonus isn't necessarily on rewarding the activity of selling. It's on rewarding the activity of training and finding other sellers. So how do you calculate this? If you go to the next slide, this is a lot of text. So I think the next slide is going to be a little simpler to explain it. The next slide is a table that essentially says, for the developing bonus, what do you do and what do you get? So the very first column on the left it has a name on it called developing bonus qualifier. What does that mean? That's the what you do part. So if you're able to achieve or sell at least 10,000 rupees of developing bonus qualifier each month, you will get the second column, a certain percentage of your developing bonus base. Your developing bonus qualifier is nothing other than the first level of sales. So in other words, what sales are you doing? The developing bonus base, so what you get paid on, is your second level. So if you have at least 10,000 rupees in your first level, you would get 10% on your second level. Now the developing bonus base is based off affiliate price, while the developing bonus qualifier is based off net sales price. So the implication here is that it's easier for you to look at or to qualify with developing bonus qualifier, because if you have more customers, your customers are paying a relatively higher price for the same product that you can buy at a cheaper price. So you're doing fewer sales to qualify that level, but then the percentage that you get paid on is based on affiliate price. Because if you remember, we've paid the difference between affiliate price and MRP, or affiliate price and member price. That has been paid already through the marketing bonus. Now you'll see different tiers in the developing bonus. You'll see 10, 15, 20, 25. There's two colors because one is really restricted just to brand affiliates. The higher tiers are for brand representatives. This is also the part of the plan where it's created and designed to help motivate people through their journey. So let's start with the first tier and talk about what developing bonus looks like for a brand affiliate. So if you go to the next slide, we have this example of someone who is built two levels, right? So they have level one of customers and direct sellers and brand affiliates, and they've got a second level below them where where their brand affiliates and direct sellers have gone and sold to other customers and direct sellers. So in this scenario, remember we talked about developing bonus qualifier and developing bonus base. So your first level, level one, is your developing bonus qualifier, your DBQ. Your level two is your developing bonus base, what you get paid on. So all these numbers that I'm showing on the first level, let's assume that's net sales price. And all the numbers I'm showing on the second level, let's assume that's affiliate price to make our calculation simple, right? So now if you look at what you have done in your first level, your customers have bought, or in other words, you have sold 10 plus 20 plus 4 plus 4, 8. So there's about 38,000 rupees of sales that's happened in your first level. That's great, but you're a brand affiliate, right? So remember, a brand affiliate only gets 10% of developing bonus. So your second level, your DBB, developing bonus base, has about 35,000 rupees in it from customers and direct sellers, GHINL. So when you're looking at this top table over here, or these top calculations, since this person is a brand affiliate, they would only get 10% on the developing bonus base. So from each of their customers on their second level, they're getting 10%. So 10% on 10,000, 10% on 5,000, all of that adding up to 3,500 rupees in developing bonus. And this number doesn't include the marketing bonus that we covered in the prior tab. So that's what it would look like for a brand affiliate. If we go to the next slide, we can look at another example. And this one is similar, but there's a little tweak to it. Because if you look at all of what's happening across your team here, your first level, your second level, your third level even, you actually have 56,000 rupees in your first level, and you have 1.4 lakhs of sales across your entire group. this actually would qualify you to become a brand rep, which would unlock the lower tiers or the higher tiers of the developing bonus. But this person, as you can see in their income calculations at the bottom left, they're all getting 10%, as opposed to the higher percentage that we saw for brand reps. The reason is because this person is still a brand affiliate. They are in qualification to be a brand rep this month, which is why they're doing these sales. But as of next month is when they are a brand rep. So following the next month, the month that you qualify is when you get the 10%. But going after that, you become a brand rep. And as long as you maintain as a brand rep, you get those higher percentages of the developing bonus, the 15, the 20, the 25, and so on. Now, I keep talking about brand reps and brand rep qualification. I think it's time we started getting into what that means and how do you get there. So in the next slide, I want to talk about the next status. Just as a reminder, I'm talking about the red tiers now, the 15, 20, 25, and what you do to get there. So in the next slide, we talk about brand reps. So if you could go to the next slide, you'll see that as a brand rep, you're going to unlock all possible bonuses that Nuskin has to offer. And there's an ability to also scale up and title up by building bigger teams and bigger groups. So what does it mean to become a brand rep? So if you go to the next slide, I believe there's going to be quite a lot of text, but essentially I'm going to simplify it and say there's two ways that you could become a brand rep. You could fast track it and do it in 1 month, or you could take it a little slow and do it across 2 months. In any case, if you want to do it in the 1 month track, you would need to do about 1.25 lakhs of group sales. And of those 1.25 lakhs, at least 50,000 needs to come from your customers and direct sellers. In other words, at least 50,000 comes from your first level. So the remaining 75,000 can come from anywhere else in your group. It can also come from your first level. Okay? Now, the second way, taking the little slower way, is doing it in 2 months. The end outcome is the same, where you're still generating 1.25 lakhs in sales across 2 months, but you're doing it in chunks. In your first month, you do at least 50,000 in group sales. In your second month, you do at least 75,000 in group sales. So added together, you're getting that 1.25 lakhs. You also need to do less on your level 1 sales since it's being split out across 2 months. So instead of doing 50,000 in level 1 sales, you do 10,000 in the first month, and then you do 25,000 in the second month. Now, an important thing to do when you're starting your brand rep journey is to make sure that you submit your letter of intent. Your letter of intent is what signals to Nuskin that you're ready to take that next step with us to go into that brand rep journey. You can find this in your business center. Remember, I talked about that business center section. If you click on it on the top right, there'll be a little icon that says LOI. So if you click on it, you'll be able to go and submit your letter of intent. And then if you successfully do these qualifications, either in 1 month or 2 months, you'll be able to successfully qualify and maintain as a brand rep. Now, let's look through a couple of examples on how exactly you're qualified. So here's an example of someone who could qualify in 1 month. Remember, this is someone who's doing the fast track. So just as a reminder, that means that's someone who has done 1.25 lakhs in group sales with at least 50,000 coming from your first level. Now, in this case, this person only has 1 level. So all of their sales is coming from that 1 level, including their personal purchase. So if you count all of these customers and direct sellers that this person has, there's about 1.2 lakhs worth of net sales happening here. And then if you add this person's personal purchase, that's another 5,000, you get 1.25 lakhs. So this person has total group sales of 1.25 lakhs. And of those 1.25 lakhs, we said at least 50,000 needed to be from the first level. We have 1.2 lakhs from the first level. So this person has successfully qualified, and the next month they will be a brand rep. Now, let's look at another example where it's not just all from the first level. Here we've got a team that's a little more built out, that has a little more depth, which is also quite possible, quite realistic. Now you look at this person's first level, which has customers and direct sellers of A, B, C, D, E, and F. And if you add up what they're bringing to the table, what they're buying, in other words, what you're selling, you've got 10 plus 20 plus 10, so that's 40. You've got 60, you've got 80,000 rupees in sales coming just from your level one. And then the rest of your group is generating another 40,000 rupees in sales. And then you yourself are doing another 5,000 rupees in purchases. So again, that 1 month qualification is brought in, right? Because we said you need at least 50,000 in your first level. This person has 80,000 the first level. We said you need at least 1.25 lakhs across your group. And if you add up all these numbers, you'll get 1.25 lakhs. So that's another example. If you could go to the next one, the next slide, I believe we can actually skip this one because this is just a different version of it. Let's go to the next slide, which just shows an example of a 2-month option. So right here, this is someone who chooses to do it in 2 months instead of 1. Still possible, right? Because if you remember, the 2-month option was doing at least 50,000 in group sales in month 1, with at least 10,000 coming from level 1. And then in the second month, you do 75,000 in group sales with at least 25,000 coming from level 1. So if you look at what this person does in month 1, they do exactly that. And in month 2, they do the remainder. So now you have all of this to qualify, but instead of qualifying in 1 month, you qualify in 2 months. So as of your 3rd month, you become a brand rep. Same concept, and in this example, this person just has 1 level. It can be multiple levels as long as the minimums from that first level are being met. So let's get into the developing bonus. Let's go back to the fun part, the commission side of it, right? So if you've got, let's see, yep, there you go. So here we've got an example, again, a real life example of someone in November, they earned developing bonus. Now, remember we talked about developing bonus being based on developing bonus qualifier and developing bonus base. So you qualify on developing bonus, you qualify on your developing bonus qualifier, and you get paid on your developing bonus base. If you go to your business center and you click on that developing bonus tab, this person here, they had a group of 14 people, and someone in that group sold 80,000 rupees worth of product, right? So this second person that you see in this list, that person is actually level 1 to you, assuming you're the level 0 person. Now, that doesn't mean that this level 1 person bought 80,000. It means they sold. So to their customers and their direct sellers, in other words, your level 2 is what they generated 80,000 rupees from. So I understand there's a little bit of confusion there. We're going to work in making this more intuitive, but for the current view, just so that everyone understands how this looks, if it says level 1 and then there's a number next to it, it's not what that person on level 1 bought, it's what they sold. Because the developing bonus is about rewarding you for what your customers sold. So using this person as an example, they have level 2 sales of 80,348 rupees. Now we can see that this person is a submitted qualifying brand rep. In other words, they themselves are not a brand rep, they are a brand affiliate. They haven't qualified and maintained as a brand rep yet. So if you remember our table, the maximum brand affiliate or anyone who's not a brand rep would get is 10% off their developing bonus base. So this person would have got 10% off that 80,000 to generate a developing bonus of roughly about 8,000 rupees. Now let's get to our next slide. Now we get into a little more of the leading bonus component. So this is the final bonus, and this is the biggest bonus because it comes through all of these steps of going from a brand affiliate or a direct seller to a brand affiliate to a brand rep. So the leading bonus is essentially, I would say, the start of your journey to becoming a leader, where you go from selling products to developing other people to selling products to developing other people to build teams and groups of selling products. So it all starts with that qualification as a brand rep. And when you've successfully completed it, you start as a brand rep. Now, as you go and start building groups of your own, you will advance in rank or you'll advance in title. So if you as a brand rep, you have already gone and created another brand rep, put them through the same qualification process that you went in, now you'll become a gold because you actually have one brand rep under you. And there's different levels as this keeps going from a gold to a lapis to a ruby and so on. The next slide actually outlines this in a table. And the table does have a lot of information in. So don't get too into the details here. We can obviously have more conversations on this, but essentially the leading bonus boils down to two things. It's how much group sales you can do and how effective you are at building other leaders, at other brand reps. So that first column is just saying within your own group of customers and direct sellers, how much sales are you generating on a monthly basis? The second column says, of your groups, of your teams, how many other leaders are you finding and how deep are you able to drive those leaders? So depending on the number of leaders you have and the volume or the sales that you're able to generate with your customers and your direct sellers, you will advance to these different titles of gold, lapis, ruby, etc. And the more you advance, the more your leading bonus gets. At the very beginning, as a brand rep, you will get 5% on your own group. As a gold, remember a gold is someone who's also created their own brand rep. You'll get 5% on your own group, but you'll also get 5% on the group of the brand rep that you created. Now, what does this mean? How do you go about looking at it and calculating it? We'll look at the next slide just to give you an example. Now, the next slide is a fairly simple example. It's not a high title. It's just a basic brand rep to start off with so that we understand the fundamentals of how this is calculated. Now, this is a person who has 3 levels. They've got customers, brand affiliates, direct sellers, everything in their group, and they themselves are a brand rep. Now you'll notice, unlike the other examples, I didn't have one number here. I have 2 numbers for each person. And there's a reason I'm saying there's 2 numbers for each person, because just like the developing bonus, where you qualify on one number and you get paid on another number, so DBQ and DBB, the leading bonus is similar. You qualify on one number, which is the net sales price of the products that you are buying or your team is buying or you are selling and your teams are selling. And you get paid on what's called your commissionable base. Your commissionable base is essentially the brand affiliate price of the product that whoever's buying your group or team, less GST, times 60%. The times 60% is essentially a factor that we take to convert the qualifying sales to a commissionable base to ensure that our total commissions that we're paying out is at a sustainable level that it allows us to go forward as a company. In other words, it allows us to meet that 40% selling expense commitment that we have given to the field, to our distributors, to say, as a company, for every dollar or for every rupee that Nuskin makes, we will pay out 40 cents or 40 paise of that dollar or rupee in commissions. And that 60% is how we get to that 40% of selling expenses. So there's 2 numbers here, a number in red and a number in green. The number in red is what you use to qualify on. So if you look at this organization and it has a leading bonus and there's level 1 sales, if you count the red numbers for that first level, it's about 1.1 lakhs, which is more than the 25,000 that we need to maintain. And if you count across this whole group, the group sales, you'll see there's about 3.15 lakhs in total, which is more than the 75,000 that you need to maintain. So you've checked the box to maintain as a brand rep for this month because you have the minimum L1 sales and you have the minimum group sales. Now, since you've maintained as a brand rep, you get paid as a brand rep in that month. And how do you get paid is you get 5% of your leading bonus base. And the leading bonus base is essentially this green number over here. So you add up all the greens in this group and it comes up to about 1.4 lakhs, and you get 5% on that 1.4 lakhs, which leads you to 7,000 rupees in leading bonus for this structure. If you go to the next slide, we'll also see a real life example of what this would look like in Business Center. So if you go to your own Business Center and you click on that leading tab, you'll see a few different numbers. And these different numbers all pertain to the different colors of numbers I showed you in the previous tab. You'll see there's a column that's called total customer sales. You'll see there's a column that's called group sales. You'll see there's a column that's called group leading bonus base. And you'll see there's a column called leadership team sales. The total customer sales, that's your level 1. So that's what needs to be at least 25,000 for you to maintain as a brand rep. Your total group sales, that's the qualifying sales, net sales price of your entire group. That's what needs to be at least 75,000 rupees. And this person here, they've done 12 lakhs and they have at least 76,000 rupees in their first level. Now their group leading bonus base is essentially looking at all of their group sales, taking the brand affiliate price of all of those sales, all of those purchases, taking out GST, applying that 60% discount factor to get you this 6.5 lakhs essentially of what the leading bonus will be paid on. So the leading bonus, if you look at the bottom, it fulfills the requirement of at least 25,000 on level 1, fulfills at least 75,000 in group sales, and as a result, it pays 5% on the commissionable base, which is the group leading bonus. So this person would have got 32,800 rupees in leading bonus as a result of this. So that brings us to the end, I would say, of our session 1 high level on the India sales performance plan. I know there's a lot of areas that we could go into, and we will continue to go into these. This is just our first iteration of this. So we're looking forward to hearing from you in terms of what we could do next, areas for us to focus on. As a team, we're also planning on more product-related trainings from a communication perspective as we get our operations up and running, as we go through some of our teething issues as well, where we've got some plans in how we're going to communicate these more effectively and at a quicker scale. We've got some social media channels. We've got some bi-weekly calls and webinars that we've got coming up. If you haven't already, go and request to join our Nuskin India Affiliates Facebook group. That's a closed group, but that's where we're planning to put a lot of our information in. We're planning to update those daily or at least every other day with some updates and what's happening around the business. Also, it's where we'll give information like where you can join this call, for example. So this call, the QR code and the Zoom link for this call was also put in that Facebook group. So feel free to share that with your teams. We look forward to continuing our amazing journey together. And we know this is just the first of many. So we're looking forward to seeing what the rest of the next few months look like for us. And thank you for joining us. I heard, please repeat the Facebook group. So the Facebook group is called Nuskin India Affiliates. There's about 400 members right now, so you'll know when you find the right one. If not, I'm sure your appliance might have access to it. I'll also see if we can get a QR code or a handle of that shared out very shortly as well. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Sadhana, over to you.
Thank you so much, Andrew, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope it was informative and you take back a lot about how the sales plan is structured. Please stay connected through our official channels, like Andrew mentioned, and do attend the upcoming trainings that are currently being planned on our end, and reach out to us whenever you need support. We appreciate you seeing the progress as they take next few weeks and months. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. We look forward to joining you in our next one.
Recording stopped.